And welcome back to Mastering Sales with Brent Gove. Good to see you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I forgot to say this. Remember, I said if it's not in your schedule, calendar, it doesn't exist. I had this to cover in the last part, the 1% Club. Go get yourself a fun travel magazine. This one's like European, and then cut out pictures of Rome or Italy or France or Nice or Monaco or wherever you want to go and see it visually. And same thing, like a car, like maybe you like fancy sports cars. That's the new Bugatti. It's kind of a cool looking car there. But there's, buy a couple magazines and then cut pictures out of cabins, of beach houses, of financial magazines that says debt free, money in the bank, etc. Do that. I forgot to say this. So just like if it isn't in your calendar, it's got to be in your notes. I forgot to share that at the end of the last thing. So Shay Spitz, unmute yourself. So Shay is my guest today for Mastering Sales. As you know, she sold 72 homes in the past 12 months and the worst market in 40 years. But everyone forgot to tell Shay that. And so she is ripping it up and just hitting the cover off the ball. So Shay, real quick, I'm going to ask you some questions, and she knows this. What do you do when you have someone who's they've been shown them property, you finally show them a house that's really good, but they're just scared, they're timid, they're like, $500,000, 300,000, whatever the price is. It doesn't matter if it's 150,000. If they've never spent $150,000 for a little tiny house or a condo, it's nervous when you buy a car for 30 or 40,000. Imagine 150 or $200,000. It's just scary for people. What do you do to get them off the fence, to help them be rest assured, and to, would you have any techniques you do when they're scared, like to get them to pull the trigger?
So it's kind of interesting. It sounds like a simple technique that I guess that I use. And when we start looking at homes, I start with the lower priced homes that I think that they're maybe not going to like as much. And I remind them that it takes about 8 seconds for a buyer to make a decision if it's the right home for them. So when they have that idea in their mind and they're looking at the first one, the second one, the third one, they get like to the one that you feel might be in their best, um, like I guess area that they would like the most for some reason, for whatever, especially the wife. And this is an emotional buy, a single family or first time home buyer. It's more of an emotional buy versus an investment. So obviously I'm more talking about somebody who's buying emotionally. They really tend to focus on that 8 seconds, like, oh, okay, maybe this is the one. So we're not wasting a lot of time going in and out of homes. They're like, okay, it either is or it isn't. And then when they get that feeling, they're like, oh, this is it. This is it. I know that sounds crazy, but I just started working with a first time home buyer. We looked at 4 homes and in one day, and they made an offer on the last one. It just was the right one for her.
Do you show, yes, you said you start with the lower priced ones first and you work your way up. Do you intentionally try to leave the best homes for to be your last homes you show?
Typically, yes. Not all the
I
time,
did
depending
too.
on the route, but I really try to as much as I can.
Yep, yep. Because it's like a wave of momentum. They like it. Oh, this one's okay. This one's better. Oh, this is better. Oh, this. And then by the time you get to the last one or two, and they're good, and they're good. I'll even go out of my way. I don't mind driving an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes if that last home is it. It didn't make sense on the drive, but it makes sense to end with that house. So like, oh my gosh, I love this house. I want this house. Boom. So have you found them to kind of develop the same kind of momentum, Shay, like that?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. And typically the last one is the one that I think is usually the higher price, or the one that I think is that they'll like the best. So in between it might adjust a little bit or be close, but usually the last one is the best one, or the higher priced one. So they can see, hey, these are the lower priced homes. This is what you would get for that. But if we go, and it's not outside their budget, it's still within their budget. They pick the homes. So I'm still obviously respecting that.
Good question. How many homes do you show on average? If you take a client out, do you show them on average 4, 6, 8, 10, 18? How many homes do you typically show on average when you're showing property to a buyer?
So per day, like if I'm showing them per day, it's about 4 or 5. Anything beyond that, I feel like they start to forget what each property offered. But otherwise, I would say on average, I would say it probably takes about 8 homes that we look at before they finally make an offer. Sometimes less. I've had a few that are significantly more.
Do you expect to sell a home the first or second time out?
No, but I guess depending on the buyer, if they're ready and pre-approved and they're ready to rock and roll, yeah, kind of. Like today, I'm
Yeah.
meeting with a buyer. They're just kind of getting into the market. I don't expect them to make an offer. I'm gonna meet with them first. But if they're already pre-approved, they already signed a buyer agreement with me, and we're gonna go out and look at 5 homes. Yeah, I do go in expecting that we'll put something under contract or make an offer.
What do you, I love that. You get what you expect, you guys. I always expect them. If I'm showing property, I expect you to write an offer, baby. I'm going to show you what you want. But I agree. If they're real nervous in this, I'm going to have to take them out twice. But I fully expected to sell a home once or twice. Now, I was only selling 50 to 60 homes a year. So listen to Shay. Personally, she's done 72. So she's more qualified to speak on this than I am. Shay, question for you. What do you do with the buyer who goes, Shay, I know the feds are going to drop those rates one or two more times. I don't want a home right now because I want to get the lowest possible rate. I'm going to wait for the next two. They've announced that. I'm going to wait. And then it's school. We want to wait till school's out. So maybe May, June. So maybe this summer we'll go look at homes or next year. Do you just say okay, or do you have a technique to at least get them out, build a relationship with you, show them a few shows, or do you just say okay and show it to them next summer or next year?
No, I definitely try to meet with them in person. I like to talk to them about what it could cost them to wait. Because if they wait, one, we all hear that the rates are going to, or the feds are going to cut the rates, and they did cut them, but then they kind of went back up. So you could wait, but then that could end up costing you more, just like it did in 2000 or 2020. But in addition to that, I always remind people that if it makes sense financially now and the rates do come down, they cut it 2 more times, you can always refinance. I mean, you find the house, if it makes sense, you get it under contract, we get it closed, and you can always refinance if it really does come down the way they say they are. Because if when the rates come down, every 1% opens up about like 5 million more buyers, not necessarily in our area, but within the nation. So obviously that's
It's
more
all proportional.
competition. Yep, it just drives the home prices back up.
Yep. Yep. And you can refinance when the rates drops. Right now, there's less demand. Great time to buy. And then when everyone else drives the market up, you just refi with the lower rate and you're in there. My kids are already planning their refi. They bought a home 2 weeks ago. They're already planning the refi, and the refi drops their payment $370 a month. Just the first no cost refi, $370 a month. That's a chunk. So good. Final question, Shay. How do you get your clients? Like, you have a lot of clients, 72 sales. What's the number one source of getting clients?
Repeat and referrals. I calculated it was about 65 to 70% of repeat referrals last year. I would say I do a very good job at staying in touch with my clients. I do the follow-up plan through TPMCO, where they get 4 postcards or newsletters for 5 years per closing. I also do a drip campaign after they close. They get a card at 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, and then they get a card in brownies at their 1 year. And then I'm hosting, about 4 events of some sort to stay in touch with my clients. So I'm touching base with them on a constant, regular basis. And especially when we had a bunch of tax increases, I was sending out videos like, hey, if you feel that your tax value was way too high, get a hold of me. I'll do an evaluation to figure out if it makes sense for you to fight that tax evaluation or not. And I had a lot of clients reach back out to me. So just staying in touch with them and providing them information and knowledge and expertise without asking for anything in return.
That is awesome. Noel wanted to be in touch with their clients more. Noel, make sure you reach out to Shay. Noel's my dear friend. Shay, I love you both.
Yes.
Noel's going to sell 30 homes and make $450,000 this year. Noel, could you imagine 72 homes? That would be over $1 million worth of income. Shay's a little nervous, jealous right now. She lives in Nebraska, is it, Shay?
Yeah, my home prices are
Yeah.
not quite where yours would be. So
Yeah, that's why she has to work hard. But you're amazing, Shay. We're so proud of you. What did you do to get started, though? Okay, repeat referral business, but what did you do to get up and running for clients? And that's our final question.
well, yeah, and that was actually prior to a lot of online leads, but I did a lot of door knocking. I did a lot of cold calling. For sale by owners was a big thing. I was making connections with people. We had started investing in properties prior, so I had some good contacts with contractors and stuff. So I was just meeting them with where they were at. I was meeting people at their work if they couldn't come to me. I was really just going way out of my way,
Hustling.
stepping outside my comfort zone. So
You get scrappy. Sounds like you were scrappy and you were hustling and beating the bushes with the stick, right? You're just like,
yes,
you're just all over it.
yes, very much so. It was different times for sure.
That is awesome. Shay Spitz, thank you. She is the niece of Mark Spitz, the famous gold medalist that you all know that won all those. I'm just kidding. She's not. I made it up. But like Spitz, why do I know that name? Oh,
And not
most
spit
famous.
sunflower seeds either, unfortunately. I wasn't born into
Yeah,
that family either.
that's awesome. Shay, we love you. Thank you for sharing. Hey, everybody, we will see you next week for the 1% Club and Mastering Sales. It'll be awesome. See you then. Have a great week. Go get them, everyone.